The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
It is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there in the real world, though if you're a member of the ruling class, I'm sure you're celebrating by taxing our heartstrings. We are coming to you from the barn in Maine, and honestly, it's the only place that feels sane anymore, because out there, it's a circus where the lions are running the show, and the audience is being told the maulings are just inclusive performance art.
It's the only place that is sane. Will, everyone else is just drinking the Kool-Aid and asking for seconds. We had a solid show yesterday, unpacked that DHS shutdown threat, and I mean, let's be real. The one big, beautiful bill is looking less beautiful by the second.
Literally. And we saw the Doge bureaucracy cuts hitting 34,000 positions. It turns out essential was just a word they used to collect a paycheck while they ignored the rest of us. But today we have a packed episode because the reality of the last 48 hours is starting to set in, from the border to the Ivy League and even the actual physical heart of a human being.
It's a return to realism. Well, whether the elites like it or not. And I want to start with something that's been brewing under the surface. Operation Metro Surge. Have you seen the numbers on this? Because while the media was busy talking about optics, federal agents were actually doing the work.
What is going on here? I saw the headline. Over 3,000 kids?
3,364 unaccompanied minor children located in Minneapolis-St. Paul area alone. Think about that. Tom Homan and Tom Emmer announced the results, and these aren't just lost kids. They were in the hands of traffickers and smugglers. The last administration basically just handed them off to avoid.
It's a breath. I mean, really, if I lose my car keys, I'm irresponsible. If the government loses 300,000 children, it's a humanitarian challenge. They hate you, Ashley. They really do, because if they cared about these children, they wouldn't have created the conveyor belt in the first place.
Exactly. And Homan is proving that when you actually look, you find the horror. But at the same time, the DOT is finally closing that commercial trucking loophole, the one where unvetted foreign drivers were hopping into 18-wheelers without a second thought.
Oh, I saw this on Breitbart. The Trump administration is finally barring them, right?
Barring them immediately, because we've seen a 3,300% increase in vehicle attacks against ICE agents since January. And it's not just targeted attacks. Think about that illegal driver in Indiana who killed 4 people. He shouldn't have been in the country, let alone behind a wheel, but the ruling class wants frictionless migration more than they want you to survive your commute.
Why are they doing this? It's so simple. You vet the people who drive 80,000-pound missiles down our highways, but for the elites, your safety is just an acceptable cost for their open-world fantasy. I mean, think about it. It's pure institutional absurdity, which actually leads me right into what's happening at the Ivy League.
Oh, here we go. The Harvard situation.
No, really, Pam Bondi is not playing around. The DOJ just sued Harvard in federal court to force them to hand over their admissions data, because even after the Supreme Court told them they couldn't use race-based criteria, Harvard just kept doing it.
They just rebranded it as adversity scores or narrative diversity. It's a shell game. They're still trying to play social engineer instead of educating people. But the funniest part is now Harvard and Yale and Stanford are all suddenly reinstating the SAT requirements for 2026. Why now?
Because they realized the graduates couldn't read the diplomas.
Exactly. They realized their test optional experiment was tanking their prestige and their graduation rates. They admitted people who couldn't do basic calculus and then acted surprised when the academic standards cratered. It's a merit reversal. They're being dragged kicking and screaming back into reality.
Let's be real. It's because the donors stopped writing checks for a degree that doesn't mean anything. But you still have the University of California system staying test blind. They are literally choosing to stay in the dark. It's a war on reality, Will. If you don't measure it, it doesn't exist, right? That's the mindset.
Literally. And speaking of things they don't want to measure, let's talk about the debt clock, because this is where the ruling class is really trying to keep us in the dark. The CBO just released the budget and economic outlook, and it is a disaster. We are on track for $64 trillion of debt in 10 years.
Oh.
Think about it. For the first time, interest payments on the debt have hit $1 trillion a year. That's more than the entire defense budget. We're spending $1 trillion just to pay for the mistakes of the past, and the elites are still arguing over the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, while the deficit stands at nearly 6% of GDP.
I'm sorry, but wasn't that bill supposed to save the economy?
That's what they told us. It was a beauty pageant name for a fiscal nightmare. It slashed $1 trillion from Medicaid and left 8 million people without coverage, and yet the debt just keeps climbing. The ruling class is playing chicken with the country's credit card, and we're the ones who have to pay the interest.
Right?
Which is why Americans are planning a 3-day social media blackout this month. People are exhausted. They're seeing the machinery of elite influence, the Peter Mandelson and Epstein connections coming out in the UK, and they realize the people in charge aren't just incompetent, they're part of a different world entirely.
It's the great disconnect. They live in a world of private jets and Obama legislation, and we live in a world where a date costs $200.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Before we get into the dating recession, we need to talk about the people actually building things.
Before we get back to the analysis, let's deal with a hard reality. Real independence isn't free. This entire network, from this show to our flagship The Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided to build it himself. He didn't ask for a government grant. He invested his own capital and technical expertise to architect a media platform that respects your intelligence. If you value that kind of meritocratic building, back it up. And don't limit yourself just to the politics. Get the full strategic picture by subscribing to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the builder, and you support the mission.
Support the builder because the destroyers are currently running the legacy media.
And they are failing. Speaking of destroyers, let's talk about Ford. Their EV unit just posted a $1.2 billion loss for the fourth quarter. $1.2 billion, Will. And they don't even expect to be profitable until 2029 now. This is what happens when you let the Green New Deal cult run your business strategy. They forced a transition that the market didn't want, and now they're hemorrhaging cash, while small businesses are actually staying optimistic.
Right.
The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index is at 99.3, higher than the 52-year average. Main Street is waiting for the regulatory ceiling to be lifted, while the big woke corporations are realizing that ESG stands for eventually someone goes broke.
Literally. And the ruling class is panicking. Did you see the AI video of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting? It was so realistic that Disney is suing ByteDance over it. The media mirage is becoming a total fog.
I saw that. It's terrifying.
It's the end of trust. Gallup says only 28% of Americans trust the legacy media now. For Republicans, it's 8%. Why would anyone trust a group of people who are essentially just narrative bots with a makeup budget? They're crying about AI misinformation while they've been peddling narrative misinformation for decades.
And that's why the corporate world is running away from DEI, Walmart, JP Morgan. They're all scrubbing it from their charters because they realized that diversity was just a euphemism for unfettered bureaucracy and discrimination. The shareholders are finally revolting.
They're noticing. And the ruling class hates when you notice. It's like the Vitruvian Man at the Winter Olympics.
Oh my God, this story is the peak of 2026 absurdity.
For those who haven't heard, the Italian broadcaster censored Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, the most famous drawing of the human form in history, because they thought it was too revealing.
I'm sorry, but it's a sketch. It's from the 1500s.
Exactly. They are literally more offended by a 500-year-old drawing than they are by the dating recession. We have 74% of young women not dating. We have dateflation hitting $200 a night, and the media is worried about a sketch's anatomy.
Life is hard. Get a helmet. And maybe don't go on a date in a city where the average spend is $250. But you know who is getting things done? The military. We have to talk about Operation Absolute Resolution.
Maduro in Manhattan, right?
Maduro in Manhattan. Locked up. Trump went to Fort Bragg yesterday, and yes, he called it Fort Bragg. He took a victory lap for the capture, said it took only minutes for U.S. Special Operations to extract him. Think about the message that sends to the world. The new Monroe Doctrine isn't just a white paper, it's a Delta Force team in your living room at 3 a.m. We have a second aircraft carrier deploying to the Middle East. We're reasserting American interests, and the world actually fears us again. It's a seismic shift from the managed decline we've seen for years.
It's about time. You don't manage a dictator like Maduro. You treat him like the narco-terrorist he is. And the stabilization in Venezuela under interim President Rodriguez is proof that peace through strength actually works.
It works because it's based on reality, not optics, which actually leads us to our main story today. The ultimate reality, the human heart.
This is incredible. I mean, really. UCSF Health just performed a heart transplant on a patient who had been living with a titanium artificial heart, a Bivacor titanium heart for months.
Wait, a titanium heart?
Literally, it's a bridge to transplant. This device kept a 37-year-old man alive while they waited for a donor organ. We're moving into an era of functional justice in public health, where we're using technology to actually solve the problem of organ shortages, instead of just bureaucratic waiting lists.
That is actually fascinating. That's the meritocracy of science, not the diversity science we see from the Ivy League, but real hard metal innovation.
Right? And it's happening alongside things like heart-in-a-box technology, which keeps a heart beating outside the body to extend preservation time. We saw a 31% increase in organ donations because of this. This is what we should be talking about. But instead, the media is focused on whether a sketch from the Renaissance needs a fig leaf.
Because they don't want you to look at the progress. They want you to look at the grievances. If we're focused on medical breakthroughs and military victories, we're not focused on their victimhood industrial complex.
They hate it when we win. They really do, because a winning population is a population they can't control.
What is going on here is a fundamental realignment. The border is being secured, the universities are being forced to respect merit, the military is being reasserted, and we are literally building hearts out of titanium.
It's a return to form, Will. We're shedding the woke baggage and getting back to being a serious nation. From the DOT loopholes being closed to the SATs coming back, the reality is winning.
It's a solid day for the American worker and a bad day for the ruling class. But they'll keep trying. They'll keep trying to tax the titanium heart out of your chest. But we're not going to let them.
Let's be real. They can't stop a nation that's finally decided to wake up. Stay sharp out there, guys. Life is hard. Get a helmet.
Literally, get a helmet and get a titanium heart while you're at it. Because the crazy world isn't going away, but we're finally fighting back with some common sense. We will be back tomorrow to see what other beautiful bills they're trying to sell us.
Stay sane, stay populist, and we'll see you then.
This is the Mural Right